Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we're really digging into the powerful currents shaping the tech landscape. We're looking at everything from these huge market shifts we're seeing to, the intricate dance of global competition. You said it's a fantastic stack of sources covering, well, everything. Retail giants reshaping shopping, the absolute cutting edge of AI, and even that geopolitical chess game playing out.
It really is a complex web, isn't it? Our goal for this deep dive, I think, is to pull out those really essential threads, connect the dots between, say, consumer behaviors and these major economic trends, strategic national interests, too. Just trying to give you a truly integrated view of what's driving the digital age right now.
Absolutely. So whether you're a consumer just trying to make sense of your online shopping or maybe someone curious about the future of work, global power, we're going to unpack some truly fascinating insights, give you a bit of a shortcut to being well-informed. Let's jump in. Okay, so we're kicking things off with some, frankly, eye-popping numbers from e-commerce. Adobe Analytics just reported U.S. retailers saw nearly $8 billion in online spending on July 8th alone.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the single biggest e-commerce day so far this year. It just really underscores the sheer volume of digital transactions happening.
And what's fascinating there, I think, is how these huge numbers reflect these broader shifts in, well, economic power. You look at NVIDIA, right? Recently, it nearly touched a $4 trillion market cap.
$4 trillion. A first.
A historic first. And it's up, 20% so far in 2025? This isn't just a flash in the pan. It shows sustained growth. It's driven by their, pivotal role in building out AI infrastructure. They're basically selling the shovels in this digital gold rush.
Right. And then you've got SpaceX. It's a private company, but they're reportedly talking about a $400 billion valuation.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big leap from their earlier $350 billion. And when you think about it, it's not just about the rockets and space exploration, is it? Though obviously that's part of it.
No, you're right. A huge chunk of that valuation is anchored in the explosive growth of Starlink.
Yeah.
Providing that critical internet connectivity globally, and interestingly, offering liquidity for their long-term employees, too.
Okay, so if we zoom out a bit on these valuations, are they just speculative froth? Like, are we seeing another dot-com bubble situation?
That's the key question, isn't it? But this time, I think the market sees them as more sustainable. It's not like the 90s bubble, because these companies are genuinely growing into those huge expectations. They have tangible revenue, market dominance. NVIDIA's chips are foundational for AI, right? Starlink's internet is expanding everywhere. It feels like a different game now, driven by actual utility.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, let's bring it down to the, everyday shopping experience. Amazon's Prime Day. It was 4 days long this time, not the usual 2. And they offered more than double the number of deals at 50% off or more. Why? I mean, beyond just selling more stuff, what's the strategy behind stretching it out like that?
It's a great question. And it really speaks to Amazon's, core philosophy, customer obsession. They actually surveyed their Prime members. And people said they felt rushed, needed more time to sift through millions of deals.
Okay, so they listened.
Exactly. The extension is a direct response to that demand for convenience, but it's also, let's be honest, a shrewd play. It deepens customer engagement, gives members more reasons to just spend more time on the platform, makes it stickier.
And it wasn't just longer, right? They're really pushing these new AI tools for a more personalized experience.
Oh, absolutely.
We're seeing things like Rufus, that AI shopping assistant, or the interest feature you mentioned, where you can say, remodel my living room, mid-century modern, show me deals under $100.
Right.
And it proactively suggests things. Then there's Alexa Plus, tracking timings, giving deal alerts. It sounds like they're trying to guess what you want before you do.
Precisely. And this shift, it isn't just about convenience for you. It's Amazon leveraging AI to capture much richer customer data. That increases average order value, builds this really sticky Prime ecosystem, which becomes incredibly hard for anyone else to replicate. It's moving from just, transactional shopping towards predictive assistance.
And what are people buying? Is it just the big ticket items?
Well, it spans the spectrum, actually. Top categories include health and personal care, apparel, beauty, home, kitchen. It stretches from basic needs, think dish soap, AA batteries, Crest white strips, to more discretionary ones like, fancy beauty products. But what's really interesting is that grocery and everyday essentials, they're actually the fastest growing part of their store.
Huh. That is interesting.
Yes.
Shows a real shift.
Definitely. People are getting comfortable buying basics online routinely.
And Amazon's clearly playing the long game here. They're even revamping their Prime for Young Adults program, 50% off. Plus, this evergreen 5% discount that jumps to 10% on Prime Day for things like beauty, clothes, electronics.
Yeah, that's a clear strategic move. Capture and cultivate that next generation of consumers. Get them hooked on the Prime ecosystem early on.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Beyond these retail giants, AI isn't just software anymore, is it? It's getting baked into hardware, into new products. Like Samsung, they just unveiled new foldable phones. There's the high-end $2,000 Fold 7, but also more accessible one, right?
That's right. The Galaxy Z Flip 7 FE, it's sub $1,000, comes in at $900. And the goal there seems to be really pushing foldables into the mainstream. It's lighter, thinner, apparently wider when it's closed, so it feels more like a regular phone.
While still giving you that, foldable screen magic.
Exactly. But critically, Samsung didn't stop with phones. They also introduced the Galaxy Watch 8 and 8 Classic. And these are among the very first gadgets shipping with Google Wear OS 6. And crucially, Google's Gemini AI chatbot built right in.
Built in. Wow. So AI is becoming standard in wearables now.
Seems like it. It's a significant milestone. Imagine, health features giving you deeper insights or just contextual help right there on your wrist. It really changes how we might interact with these devices.
And speaking of wearables, the investment side is fascinating too. Meta. They're deepening their bet on AI glasses by buying a minority stake in EssilorLuxottica.
The Ray-Ban people.
Exactly. The maker of Ray-Bans and Oakleys. This isn't just like owning a piece of a sunglasses company, is it?
No, definitely not. It points to Meta's long-term vision. They want to seamlessly integrate AI into everyday accessories we already wear, moving beyond just phones and watches into, well, truly pervasive computing.
Which brings us to something you mentioned earlier, this AI talent war. The money involved sounds kind of crazy.
It is pretty unprecedented. We're hearing that $100 million USD, that's becoming the, quote, clearing price for top-tier frontier model AI talent.
$100 million. For one person, that sounds absolutely wild. Even for a CEO, how can one individual possibly be worth that much?
It's an astounding figure, no doubt. It challenges our whole idea of compensation. But the argument from the investors, the companies, it's that one truly brilliant individual in this very specific cutting-edge field, they could potentially unlock billions of dollars in new value.
Billions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you're playing for trillion-dollar market caps, which some of these companies are, it starts to look less like a dumb bet and more like a bold bet.
Right.
It's also a big shift from those old no-poaching agreements, which had all sorts of antitrust and labor law issues.
Right.
The real worry maybe isn't just the price tag itself. It's making sure these incredibly highly paid people are actually focused on serious long-term R&D, not just, jumping ship for the next massive payday.
So all this focus on AI talent is power. What does it mean for the rest of us? For the broader job market, there's obviously a lot of anxiety about AI taking jobs.
That's the critical question, absolutely. People are calling AI a cognitive industrial revolution.
Meaning
It's set to fundamentally reshape knowledge work, information work, language work, much like the first industrial revolution transformed manual labor. The consensus prediction, it seems to be an initial period of job transformation, and yes, some job loss.
Okay.
But the idea is that this eventually leads to job regaining and long-term prosperity, even for, say, software engineers. The outlook isn't necessarily fewer jobs, but more like everyone gets an AI co-pilot. It changes how we work, maybe more than replacing us entirely.
Augmentation, not just automation.
Exactly. That's the hope, anyway.
And the money pouring into AI startups is just fueling this whole transformation, right?
Yeah.
Like Mistral AI in France.
Yeah, Mistral is a great example. They're looking to raise another $1 billion in equity. That's on top of $1 billion they already raised, plus they're tapping debt markets.
Just to keep up?
Essentially, yeah. To keep up with the massive computational demands of building these large language models. Puts them in the same league, spending-wise, as OpenAI or Google.
You mentioned international investment playing a bigger role.
Absolutely. What's fascinating there is the role of funds, like the Abu Dhabi Fund MG. They're not just in Mistral. They've strategically invested in Anthropic, xAI, OpenAI, basically spreading their bets across the major AI players.
Diversifying their AI portfolio.
You got it. And MG is also a key player in building Europe's biggest data centers over in France. We're talking a massive investment, like 30 to 50 billion euros.
Wow. And Mistral's angle is sovereign AI. What's that about?
Right. So their niche is building AI services that can live entirely in private clouds. They're targeting governments, defense sectors, particularly in Europe. There's a growing demand there for local control, data sovereignty, not relying entirely on U.S. tech giants.
Okay, that makes sense. And that leads us directly into this major global competition underpinning everything.
Yeah.
The U.S.-China AI race. Both countries are laser-focused on building out the infrastructure they need.
Exactly right. China, for example, is making these enormous investments. Plans for 36 data centers, mostly in energy-rich areas like Shenzhen or the Gobi Desert. And get this, 70% of that capacity is planned for a single compound.
70% in one place.
Yeah, and they're looking to acquire something like 115,000 NVIDIA chips to power it all. It's just an unprecedented scale.
Okay, but hang on. The obvious catch, U.S. export controls, they've been in place since October 2022, right? Specifically restricting China's access to the most advanced chips.
Right.
NVIDIA itself basically said that trying to build a massive AI data center by cobbling together older chips just doesn't make sense, technically or financially. So given the controls, how on earth is China planning to get 115,000 advanced NVIDIA chips?
That is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? Smuggling is one possibility, sure, but U.S. officials themselves admit it would be incredibly complex, probably inefficient, to get the sheer scale China needs that way.
So maybe through third countries?
That's what people are watching. Countries like Thailand, Malaysia, potential transit points. But it raises the bigger question, are these controls actually working? Or are they, maybe, negotiable?
Which brings us right to trade talks.
Yeah.
Are these export controls potentially a bargaining chip for the U.S. in negotiations with China?
Well, if you look at the bigger picture, recent talks, like the ones in London involving the U.S. Commerce Secretary, they suggest that, yes, export controls are indeed on the table. The key question is how far any future U.S. administration might go. Would they lift controls on chips like NVIDIA's H20, the ones designed specifically to be compliant for the Chinese market? Or even unwind some of the current Biden administration controls? China is definitely pushing hard for that.
And from the U.S. tech industry side, they must be watching this closely.
Oh, absolutely. For them, this AI race is very real, very immediate. You've got companies like OpenAI, Oracle, SoftBank, NVIDIA. Collectively, they're investing over $2 trillion in AI capability just in the United States.
$2 trillion.
Yeah. So they're looking for an environment that supports that kind of massive investment. That means things like tax incentives, sure, but crucially, they want trade certainty, a move away from unpredictable tariffs towards stable, predictable trade agreements.
So it's this really delicate balance then, national security versus economic interests.
That's the heart of it. And it's vital to remember something like 95% of the world's population lives outside the U.S.
Yeah.
So if you deny American companies access to those global markets, it significantly impacts their ability to expand, to compete. The strategic goal has to be a legitimate national security approach. Prevent adversaries from getting sensitive tech for military use, yes, but do it without crippling American companies' ability to compete globally. It's a very, very fine line to walk.
And the choke points aren't just chips or software, are they? It extends to basic resources, too.
Absolutely. Things like copper and especially rare earth elements, you need vast amounts of these to power all this new AI infrastructure. And the U.S. is, frankly, highly dependent on China for rare earths. That gives Beijing significant leverage in any negotiation.
So China holds some key cards there.
They do. And while they've agreed to loosen some export controls on rare earths recently, they're only granting 6-month licenses. That keeps the leverage firmly in their back pocket. And they're demanding really invasive business information from U.S. companies in return.
Okay, so chips, resources.
Yeah.
What's the final bottleneck in this race?
Talent. It always comes back to talent, doesn't it? Both the U.S. and China are aggressively trying to cultivate their own AI minds and attract the best from around the world. For the U.S., that means developing homegrown talent, yes, through education. But just as importantly, continuing to attract the best and brightest immigrants. Historically, immigrants have been absolutely foundational in starting many of the most successful U.S. tech companies. It's a global competition for human capital, plain and simple.
Wow. What an incredible deep dive today.
Yeah.
We've really covered a lot of ground, from those staggering tech valuations and the changing face of e-commerce, all the way to this intense global race for AI supremacy and talent. It's just so clear we're in a period of unprecedented and incredibly rapid change.
Indeed. We've kind of peeled back the layers, haven't we, to see how AI isn't just some abstract concept anymore. It's a tangible force. It's impacting everything from your personalized shopping on Prime Day to, well, geopolitical power dynamics and national security strategy. Those lines between consumer convenience, corporate strategy, national security, they're just blurring at an astonishing rate.
So the big question for you listening, What does this all mean as you navigate this fast-changing world?
Yeah.
As we keep pushing the boundaries of AI, how do we, as a society, manage that balance? Innovation versus responsibility, economic growth versus national security, even individual convenience versus these huge global implications.
Yeah.
These are the fascinating, maybe slightly unsettling questions that are going to keep defining the deep dives we do in the future.
Definitely plenty to ponder as technology just keeps marching relentlessly forward.